Welcome to the Voices of Hope, where inspiring stories meet unwavering resilience. In this podcast, we bring you tales of courage, compassion, and change makers who are lighting up the darkest corners with their acts of kindness. Join us on this journey of heartwarming narratives and transformative power. Join us as we delve into the lives of everyday heroes who are rewriting the narrative of hopelessness. From grassroots initiatives to global movements, each episode uncovers extraordinary journeys of those who refuse to let adversity define them. These changemakers inspire us all with their unparalleled determination to make a lasting impact. Prepare to be moved, uplifted, and empowered as we embark on a journey to discover the transformative power of the human spirit. In every voice we amplify lies a beacon of hope for a brighter tomorrow. This is the Voices of Hope, your platform for inspiration, connection, and the relentless pursuit of a better world. With your host, Fabrice Somborn.
Let's start. My first question is, can you introduce yourself to our listener and tell us a little about who you are, please?
Okay, so my name is William Kacholola. I'm a Zambian citizen, aged 30 years. Born to Susan and Zemani Kacholola. I'm the firstborn of three. I have two siblings, a younger brother and a younger sister. So that's basically about me.
Okay.
So basically, I'm in the process of recovery from an addiction that I had for alcohol, and I was using a substance, marijuana. So I attended a 5-month rehab program where I was in a confined space for 5 months, and then I was seeing therapists there who helped me journey through my recovery process. And now I'm a month out of rehab as of today. It's been 1 month, and I'm basically continuing in the journey of sobriety day by day.
Oh, I see.
So,
Okay. What was life like for you before addiction become part of your story?
Okay, so growing up, I just grew up a normal life, coming from a Christian background in an African family setup with both parents, and being the firstborn, a lot was expected from me. I was very hardworking in terms of school. I loved school, and as such, I was always having top grades. I was one of the best students as far as I can remember. Every time we had tests or exams, I was always one of the best.
Wow.
And I also liked sports, which I still do. I was playing rugby, volleyball, and swimming as well, which is my best sport.
Wow.
So I grew up basically just a very good boy as a normal child would grow up. And apart from that, I also love church. And I had many positions that I was given at church. And from a young age, I was always in leadership positions. At school, I was chosen as the prefect. At church, I was chosen as someone who would help other people to do certain tasks. So maybe in Sunday school, I'll be the one in charge of the younger kids and just seeing that they're doing the correct things. So
I see. So you were just the perfect example of a good kid who don't have no drama in his life, but who just wanted to go for church, playing rugby, football, soccer, and swimming. So are you still practicing sport, doing some sport or something like that right now, or no?
okay. So for sports, I still do swimming, and I have the chance to. I still do swimming, but as for these other sports like rugby and volleyball, I haven't really been engaged in them for some time. So, but I still have interest in them, and when I have a chance to, I can still participate in those sports.
Let's be honest. You don't have energy anymore. Huh?
No, I still have energy. I'm actually even trying to lose weight, so those sports will be good for me.
Okay, okay, that's great. That's great. So my next question is, when did you first realize? Because you say that you were doing some sport, you were doing all this stuff, you were a perfect kid for the family, you were the example. But at one point, because like at the beginning you say that you are recovering things. So at one point, I'm sure you started to do these things of drugs and alcohol. So when did you realize you were struggling with substance abuse? And Was there a particular moment or series of events? What was the problem exactly? What made you start to want to use some substance? Since your life was going well, I think, with what you are saying, what you're telling me, everything was looking like it was going well. So why suddenly you decide to start to drink for somebody who goes to church and who was good in church and also doing a lot of sport? For regular people like me, like us, putting alcohol and drugs is supposed to be at the back seat. So how did it come to you, and how did you realize that you have substance abuse? You start to need that, to struggle with that.
Okay, so basically what happened was my dad passed away. That was
Mm,
in 2010, the beginning of 2010. So at that point when I lost my dad, I felt like there was a big gap that was um, that was left in my life, and I
mm,
also felt like he left very big shoes, of which I didn't know how to fit the size of those shoes, and I literally felt my life crumbling before me. I was under so much pressure from myself. I was under pressure from, not really pressure from my mom, but she expected a lot from me, and I didn't know how to cope with that stress. My siblings also were looking up to me, and I didn't really know how to set a good example for them.
mm,
So at that time, I was in grade 11. I remember being with friends who were taking alcohol and they were taking marijuana. So for me, out of curiosity, I started engaging into those activities. And every time I would get high, like I would forget my problems and all that stress, all the pain, all the trauma that I had. It was sort of like an escape route for me. I would feel at peace when I take a drug, when I take
mm,
especially marijuana or when I take alcohol.
yes.
And it became part of my life. It was just normal now. Like I was always drinking at school. I would be drinking sometimes without even teachers knowing. I would put alcohol in my juice bottle.
Oh my
I
God.
would, when it's break time or lunch time, we would go somewhere behind, like in the soccer pitch. We'll smoke and then go back to class. But no one would know most of the times because we're always trying to be at our best behavior. But and then in grade 11, in the third term, it became very like it was now evident because I was flunking in school. My grades were not okay, and my performance went down. So at this point, mom noticed to say something was wrong, and I was drinking even every weekend. I would say I'm going for maybe studies, but I would come back drunk. So she got very concerned. She got very concerned to say what's really happening, what's going on. So upon entering grade 12, she put some certain restrictions. She got away my PlayStation, my phone, and I wasn't allowed to see anyone. I had to be home by a certain time, by 17, the curfew. If I'm not at home during the weekends, I would go for school, extra lessons. The only day I was free was on a Sunday.
Mm,
So despite all that, I was still drinking and smoking, but more of my energy was focused on school. And that's how I managed to finish my grade 12 and I passed, although I did not do well in two subjects because of the alcohol and the weed. So I had to resit those subjects. But even the time I was going for my evening classes to resit those subjects, I was still drinking because during the day, the classes only used to start maybe after 17 to 19. So during the day, I would be drinking and smoking and I would go to school high. But I still managed to pass by the grace of God. And that pattern just continued. Like I was always drinking and smoking, and I was always having problems. Like a month wouldn't pass without me having an episode of something bad happening. Maybe I lost my phone. Maybe I lost money. I misused money that I was not supposed to use. I was always in problems, and that's when I noticed that there was a problem. I was in addiction, because what I've come to notice as of now, when you're in an addiction, it's very hard for you to see because everything looks normal. You'll be in your comfort zone because of those drugs, because of the substance that you're taking, and you feel like you're just doing right. But the ones who are affected are the people that are around you and the people who have grown up with you or seen you grow. They'll be able to know, but this is not the same person. What's wrong? What's really happening? So coming that far, that's how my addiction started.
I understand, and thank you for being so open. I really appreciate that. I know that it takes a lot for somebody to admit it and stuff. So the thing is, do you think that when you are looking back now, you think that your mom did the right thing by blocking you, taking away your PlayStation and stuff like that? And where were you finding the money, or you were stealing from somewhere, or what were you doing? How are you finding the money to buy your drug and your alcohol and stuff? And also, usually, drugs smells and everything on people. So, how are you doing that? You had to become very creative to go in up for people to don't notice that. Yeah. What were you doing?
Yeah. Okay, so usually on the money part, my lunch money, I would be given lunch money almost every day, but I'll just carry food from home and I'll use that lunch money to buy drugs or to buy alcohol. And then I would always, yes, drugs smell, but there's a certain way you can kill the scent. Maybe you wash your hands, you sanitize, you eat a lot of bubble gums, you take some soft drinks, and you do some perfume, and the scent is gone. Unless you're in close proximity with the person. So I would always be far.
Oh,
When I'm talking to mom or talking to anyone at home, I would keep my distance so that no one should know that I was taking any alcohol. But sometimes they would know because maybe your eyes would be red and they're like, why are your
yeah.
eyes red?
That's something I wanted to say. I
Then
say, what about the eyes? The eyes, you had something for your eyes to cover your eyes, or what? Or you were on black glasses?
no, I used to put on glasses and sometimes I would use eye drops because when you put those eye drops, your eyes will clear.
Yeah.
You'll just become clear.
Yeah. So that's also a proof that you were smart. You were using your brain for some stuff. But okay, we are laughing, but I know it's not funny. It's not something to laugh about because so I don't want to cut the progress of our thing, but I would like, since we are at this point, what can you tell to somebody, some family members who are listening to us right now? What can you tell them? What are the things they can look for in somebody to notice that, okay, this person, or there is no way to notice something without being too close, or the red eyes and stuff like that. Uh, do you think that your mother, if she was paying more attention, or something, she was not paying enough attention, or what? What do you think of the moment? Because you say that, okay, she start to notice because of school. But for example, if somebody is not going to school or something, and is how can a family member can notice that there is something, they are on news and they need help?
Okay, so the first way to notice from my experience is a change in behavior. You just observe someone's patterns, what they would normally do, because like we all have certain things that we do normally. When you wake up, you do this, you have breakfast, after this you do some certain activities. But when someone is intoxicated or in the high, they will do things in a very different way, like in a strange way, because they'll feel paranoid, especially for weed. You'll feel paranoid, like everyone knows that you're high. So maybe you try to do things very fast, or you'll be doing things extremely slow and you'll be very forgetful. So there are just some certain attributes that you can be able to see, like this person is not in the right state of mind. Even if they can be trying to mask it, but if you know that person very well, just some certain small things. Maybe someone opens water in the tap and he forgets to close it. And after maybe 30 minutes, that's when he realizes, oh, but I left water running in the sink. Then
Oh,
you come back. Or maybe you send someone, oh no, I want you to do this. But for them to do that task, it takes a lot of time. So
mm-hmm.
you'll be able to see those signs like there's something wrong with someone.
Yeah, I
There
see.
must be something they're doing.
How did addiction affect your daily life, relationship, and mental health? How was it affecting you since now you
Okay.
are okay? But how
So
was it affecting your daily life? Yes.
okay, so I'll start with the first one. For my daily life, me, if I don't have any drug, especially for marijuana, if I don't have marijuana, I'll be restless. I'll be, I won't be at peace. I'll find every means, every way for me to just take that specific drug or for me to take alcohol. So I was always craving because the cravings are really strong. Sometimes you end up even selling things. You sell a phone which was very expensive, you sell it at a cheap price just because you want to get high.
Mm,
Or you come up with money with your friends, this one puts this amount, or because you guys want to get high. So
mm,
in the end, it was all like, it was just full of ups and downs. In fact, mostly just downs. I was always on the downside because my focus was just on getting high every time. So that really also affected my daily life. Then even relationships were broken because when you're an addict, you lose trust of the people that are around you, and you can't maintain a proper relationship even with a, let's say, with a girl, like having a girlfriend, because the time you're supposed to be spending with her, you'll be spending with your friends getting high. She'll call you and
yes,
say, no, maybe come, but you have to choose between the drug or her. And 80% of the times, it was the drug or the
the
alcohol.
drug.
So you can't even maintain a relationship for more than 2 months, most.
Yes,
Maybe even 2 months is a lot, maybe just 1 month, and she'll get tired at the end of the day.
right.
So I lost trust from my mom, I lost trust from my siblings, uncles, aunties, like everyone was just like, but now it's the end of this person, you know? And that
Mm,
gives you a state. Now coming to the mental health, you feel depressed, you feel lonely, you feel isolated, you feel looked down upon, and you have that inferiority complex in you to feel like, but no one, you won't value yourself. And the only people that give you comfort is the people that you smoke with or drink with, because you'll be encouraging each other. But actually, it's
mm.
not even encouraging. Those are wrong encouragements that you're giving to each other at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's a
yeah.
wrong encouragement. Yes. Yeah, because all
Yes.
of you are in the same thing and
So
everything.
basically,
Yeah, I understand.
yes,
So in your life, it was like okay, it affected you that way, the way you just mentioned in a relation. So it means that you lost the family confidence, and nobody was trusting you, or they were just
yeah,
thinking that you are gone. And because of that,
yes,
it brought you to a mental health issue where you start to feel little, you were scared of and depressed. Yes.
yes.
Yes, so okay, I see. Uh, were there specific trigger or circumstance that fueled your dependency on alcohol or drugs? Is there a specific trigger, some triggers and stuff? I know that you say that it started when your dad passed away, and you felt like okay, they put too much pressure on you. They think because you felt like you had to do better than dad, or like at least like your dad. So that's the thing. We know that that's why you started, but during all this time, because you say it was in 2014, yeah, I think. So how many years has been since it was for you to do the drugs? I think it's been 10 years or 9 years.
Yes.
So during that time, do you have any things that was triggering you, or it was just the hitch, or you wanted to go and get some and something like that, always getting high and stuff like that?
Okay, so it just to correct what you said, it's been 14 years now of that
14
struggle
years.
from
Okay.
2010 until now. Yes.
Okay.
So the triggers, like I said, one, it was the loss of my dad. I didn't deal with that loss and the grief. So it was a way of me, it was like a coping skill to say, okay, I'll feel at peace when I use a drug or when I take alcohol. The second one was stress. I was really stressed because of everything that was happening around me. I didn't know how to handle that pressure. Another one was also sort of, I would say, peer pressure because I always enjoyed the company of my friends when we're getting high, the stories we're telling. We would lose track of time. You'd start getting high maybe 6 hours in the morning. Even prepare yourself like you're going for work, but you're just going to get high somewhere. And you lose
I,
track of time. The next you know it, it's like 18, 19, and you're going
I,
back home. You haven't done anything the whole day apart from being high.
that's,
So I would say those are the triggers that caused me to be dependent on alcohol and the marijuana that I was taking as well.
yeah, okay. I see. I see. That's something. That's something. So you couldn't keep a job, keep a job for long. It was just like you said earlier that you can't keep a woman for 2 weeks, for 2 months. So it was the same with the job. You
Yes.
couldn't keep a job for a long time. Then.
Yes. So you'll find that even if you have a job or even like a small job, a contract, the moment you get paid, the first thing you think about is getting high. That's the way addiction is. It's like all the monies that you have, you want to use them for your cravings, to satisfy your cravings, so that you you can be high, so to say.
I see. I see. I see. So wow, you come from far. Okay, my next question is looking back, were there any warning sign you now recognize, but maybe overlooked at the time?
Okay, yes. So
One,
looking at the warning signs,
yes.
which I've seen now, like the first one was I was acting strange. That wasn't me. When I was using drugs, I was not responsible. I was careless in the things
Mm,
that I was doing. I was always making mistakes. I would know that I'm even making a mistake or I'm doing something wrong, but I would just go with it because I was being controlled by that drug. That's why addiction is like a prison. It's a prison. Someone is
mm,
trapped like in a box and they can't come out. You just be moving around the same circles. You even know to say what I'm doing has consequences, but you overlook those consequences and um, you want to just satisfy the high at the end of the
yes.
day. Sometimes even my eating patterns, I wasn't eating well. I would be drinking on an empty stomach. So even my physical appearance really changed. I lost weight. At least now I've even gained some weight. I lost weight tremendously because I was always taking alcohol and those strong alcohols like spirits. So you find that I was my physical appearance wasn't the same. I was looking
Hmm.
different. I was talking different because the people you're found with, that's the character that's going to rub on you also.
Yeah.
So if you're being found with bad people who are always taking alcohol, taking drugs, you speak the same language, you walk the same talk, and everything about you will just be wrong. When
Yeah.
people look you, they'll label you as maybe a junkie or a drug addict or an alcoholic. So I was in those like lines. That's the category that I was in. Now that I've opened my eyes and I've realized to say, okay, wait, there's nothing I was doing progressive in that state. These are some of the signs that I recognized that I used to overlook.
I'm glad that now you recognize them, and that's great. That's great. I'm very happy, and personally, I noticed that, and I'm happy, and I'm very happy for you, and very proud of you, honestly. Uh, so the next things will be the turning point. That's the third point that I'm trying to work on with you, talk about with you. And again, I got just three questions again. So the turning point is what led you to decide that it was time for a change? Was there a particular event or a moment of clarity, something like that?
Okay, so the turning point came early this year. That was in January. I reached a point where I just sat down. Okay, I was drinking heavily. I was doing the same activities that I used to do, smoking marijuana. So there's a particular day I just sat down to reflect, like, okay, I was doing a self introspect. Is this me? I started looking at pictures of myself when I was young, and I started realizing to say this is not me. And all these things that I've been doing, my mom has been complaining, my siblings, I've lost trust of people. I'm just not moving in the right direction. And I felt like I needed help, which brings me to the next point. Like when you're in an addiction, most people that I was even doing those drugs with and drinking with, they have a problem, but they feel like you feel like you're stigmatized. You'll be stigmatized when you say, okay, I've got this problem and I need help. So for me, I looked at it at a long point of view. I was saying, in the next 5 years, if I continue this life, where am I going to be? The options that came in my mind were terrible. I was thinking of I would either be dead, one, two, I would either be in jail because of the wrong decisions, or I would be in a mental facility. So I said, to avoid all these things, let me seek help. That's how I sat my mom down. We had a discussion, and I told her, I want help. I have a problem. And the only help I can get at the moment is going for rehab, which is how I decided to go for that rehab program. And like when you want to change, any change starts with you accepting and realizing that you have a problem. When you accept that, okay, you have a problem in this, it will be very easy for you to recover and for that process of change to even start. So that was the moment of clarity for me, so to say.
I see. I see. So, if you don't mind, can you tell me, can you tell us, give us just like one or two example of some very bad things that happened that makes you think that, oh man, I messed up there, or that was going to be bad if I didn't, if it was going to go another way or stuff like that. Maybe the loss of your
Yeah.
life. Did you ever had anything like that?
Okay. So there was this once at that time I got my driver's license. So mom had traveled out of town. She went to a different town and she left me with a car. So at that time we're staying in Kitwe. So I called some of my friends. We started drinking and smoking and the usual. And then we had the crazy idea to say, no, let's go to another town, which is like 45 minutes away in Indola. So that's how we convinced ourselves. We had a lot of alcohol in the car. We had a lot of drugs. And that's how we drove to Ndola. When we reached there, we went clubbing. So whilst we were at the club, one of my friends was in the car, another friend of his, and he said, "Okay, you guys go in the club. I'll sit in the car. I want to listen to music and charge my phone." So that's how we're like, "Oh, okay, no, that's okay." So I wanted to get something in the car, and when I came out, I found the car was in there. So in my mind, I was like, "But where's the car now?" So I started calling him. His phone was just ringing. At some point, it even went off. We started looking for the car. We couldn't find it. Then he came like an hour later.
Oh,
But when he came, he was so restless. Then we're asking him, "What's wrong? What has happened?" Then he said, "No, I had a hit and run accident." I was like, what do you mean you had a hit and run accident? No, someone hit into me and they drove off. So we're like, but what has happened to the car? Then he showed us the damage. It was very bad. Like starting from the right, from the passenger side, passenger's door up to the back, there was a very huge dent.
oh,
Like it was really bad.
I see.
So that's how we drove back now to Kitwe. And I tried to, 2 days later, mom came back. I didn't tell her. She found out for herself. Eh, And then things just turned sour. Like it was really bad. She got really upset. But the good thing is that the car was insured, and that's how the insurance paid for the damages. But up to that point, she even stopped giving me the car, and I didn't want anything to do with the car. So
Yeah.
another event that happened was those ones. I was with my friend. We came from a party, and a vehicle was involved again. So where he was staying was quite far from town, and his parents were calling him to say you have to be home in the next 20 minutes, or else we're going to get the car from you. You're never going to drive. And they gave him so many threats because they wanted him to be home. It was past his curfew, and we're still in school by that time. I think we were in grade 12. So that's how my friend started driving beyond the speedometer. The speed limit of the car was 180. He was going beyond 180.
What?
And the car was flying. The car was flying. So when we reached, it's a gravel road since it's like in the farms. So when we reached that side, he just lost control of the vehicle, and that's how we ended into the bush. And the car flipped like 2 times. We lost direction of where we were. I didn't know what was happening. My friend was not in the car, so I started looking for him. I found him outside. The airbags came out, they inflated, and like, but thank God no one was injured. Like the injuries were just minor. So all this was because of alcohol and the drugs I was taking, wrong decisions, so to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. It never come up in your mind that after this accident, you just say, "Oh man, I was supposed to die at that point." Were you trying to hurt yourself just to run away from something?
Like okay, for that accident, it just happened in the midst of us being intoxicated. Not that I was planning to hurt myself or to injure myself or anything like that. And I remember after that accident, I even stopped drinking for some time or taking marijuana. But again, I fell back into the same cycle of getting high as usual.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I see. Okay, I understand. So, and now the other question is, who or what was the biggest motivation to start your recovery journey? It was, I know that you mentioned that it was yourself, you thought about it and you asked your mom, you sat with your mom, but, and you told her you need some help. I know that the biggest person is you, but do you have somebody next to you that took over and start to push to get you the help you need and everything?
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Wondercraft. Imagine transforming your ideas into captivating podcasts, engaging ads, or immersive audiobooks in any language, all with just a few clicks. Wondercraft makes it easy for everyone, from seasoned creators to beginners, and you can start for free. Whether you want to share your story, promote your business, or entertain an audience, Wondercraft has you covered. Experience the magic of Wondercraft yourself using our affiliate link in the description. It helps our channel grow. Don't miss out on this opportunity to elevate your content and reach a global audience. Dive into the future of content creation with Wondercraft today.
Okay. Yes, so looking at all the instances that I've been through, that I've explained to you, one thing is that my mom had always been there for me. She never she never forsook me in any way during my addictions, all the problems I was facing. She was always there, and this motivated me because she always told me every time I messed up, yes, she would be angry at me, but she always forgave me because she had hope in me. She knew to say I still have potential and I can do a lot if I get rid of this aspect. So that was another motivation for me. Like, okay, mom has always been there for me. Let me also make her proud at the end of the day. She's complained enough, she's cried enough. So let me make her happy at the end of the day as well. So even my siblings, I also wanted to continue to set a role model for them. Like, okay, I know I've messed up, but now I want to be a different person, to be that big brother that you need, and to be there for you guys so that you can also be proud to say we have a big brother at the end of the day.
I see. I see. So it was mostly your brother, your sister, and mom number one. That's great. That's great. But
Yeah.
but when you made the decision and you were promising that you want to change, you want to be better, were you scared or having doubt that you were going to go back to this mess and disappoint them, or were you just ready to go to go in this journey for your recovery or stuff like that? Or can you tell me about that?
Okay, so like for the way the rehab setup is, I was a bit scared because one, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know the people I was going to find. But I remember even when I reached there, the first week, I was a bit low because I was missing home. I was scared. But then I just had the reflection to say, I'm doing this for my life. I'm doing this for my family. And I know that this is going to impact me positively when I leave this place and I just follow this program holistically. So that gave me like a motivation. I never, and also talking to people there, I met different people who were going through bigger problems than I was even facing. Others that were going through divorces, others that lost their high paying jobs. So I was like a pillar of motivation. I was motivating people. And the more I motivate or encouraged people, like I felt relief at the end of the day to help someone, to be a hope for someone who's going through something that's difficult, like an addiction or a struggle of substances. So that really removed all that fear and doubt that I had in the beginning. Even up to now, that's like my motivation. That's what's keeping me strong.
Okay, okay. So, but how is the programs? How it works? You say you didn't know how it was going to be and everything, but I'm just wondering. It was it a camp? You went to a camp. What was the thing, the environment you went through and stuff like that? Did you went with your mom or with some people to check first the place where you're gonna go and all of what?
Okay, so what we did some research online. That's how we found the same rehab that I went to. So we had to travel to Lusaka. We came to Lusaka, then we went to the offices there first, where they do an assessment. The therapist would do an assessment, ask you a few questions here and there, so that they see the extent of your addiction. Then from there, after you do the assessment, you then make a payment and you are ready to go to the sober house. So at the sober house, that's the place where it's in a confined space. It's very far away from civilization. There, you don't use any phones. You're just far away. It's in the
Mhm.
bush, actually.
Okay.
So that was the first step. Looking at the question that you've raised here,
Oh
that was
yeah,
the first step in
yeah. Because
recovery.
now we just jump right away to the number four, where is the recovery process? That's what I just want to know the process and everything.
Yes. So that was the first step. And then when you reach there, they wait for you to at least adapt to that environment. Then there's a timetable that we follow there. So on some days, you would have therapists coming in. You talk to your therapist. Other days, we had the pastor who was coming in. He will give us spiritual counseling. Then other days, we had classes like in agriculture work because we had to plant some vegetables there. And there were chickens as well. We'll keep chickens to see how we can sell them at a later stage. So all that was a program that it's all meant for your recovery at the end of the day. And it really worked out for me because number one, I accepted. The rehab can't work if you don't accept because you find like it's a waste of time. You feel like your family has isolated you, they hate you, and you feel like it's a waste of money because it doesn't come cheap. And then you just feel like it's a waste of time. But when you accept that you have a problem, those people, the therapists, are trained in that particular area, and they will be able to help you get through to your recovery process, and you'll just come out a better person. Like so, for me, I just feel like now that side it's theory. Everything I was learning was the theory part, and now here on the outside world, it's a real world, and I'm just putting into practice everything that I was taught. So that's really how the recovery process went on.
I see, I see. So what about when you were there? Were this you talked about agriculture, about growing some chicken and everything? Yeah, we can consider them like a tool or like tools and everything. So were there some specific tools that like the agriculture or whatever was or the Bible study that was more or any other support system were particularly helpful for you? Something that really makes
Yes.
you feel like, oh man, that's what I want to do.
Okay. So like for especially for the agriculture part, it gave me because I had interest in agriculture, but I just didn't know how to go about it, like farming, planting vegetables, and how to rear chickens. So that interest was developed that side because we even used to write tests. Every 2 weeks, we'd write a test in agriculture, like how to grow tomatoes, how to grow carrots, how to grow vegetables, and different other plants. So this also helped my recovery process because now I have that skill of which now I'm even trying to start implementing. I'm seeing every time I see land, I'm thinking, but what can I plant here? And what's the best crop to plant? And how much can I make out of this? So
Okay.
it really helped me. Like it really changes your mindset and you think on a different dimension, the way you wouldn't think even when you're in an
Yeah.
addiction or when you're taking a substance. Your mindset will just shift completely.
Yeah, but when you say, for example, what you just said, that you're looking how much money can I make out of that? The money is you have something a goal that you want to reach after you make enough money. You want to do something. You have something in mind or what?
So after I make enough money, I'm actually in the process of writing my own book. So this book is based on my recovery journey, the things that I learned in rehab. It's got stories of my 14-year struggle of alcohol, what I went through, my addiction, and also strategies on how someone is practical. So the strategies on how someone can overcome an addiction. How do you know that you're an addict? What signs are there? So what can you do? For what coping skills are you going to use when you're faced with triggers? All that kind of stuff. So when I release my book, in the long run, I'm planning to open my own rehab of my own, God willing. So
Yeah.
I'm entering into psychosocial counseling where I can be a therapist, talking to people who are going through addictions and helping them just to be a beacon of hope to show them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel at the end of the day.
Yes, I see. I see. We're going to talk about it more on the next, on more episode coming, more series that we're going to be
Session.
doing. Yeah. So it was just it's good that you mentioned that, like that people can have an idea of what we are working on and how they can see your progress and everything. And that's great. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced during recovery, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, so for the challenges that I faced, the first one, me being in rehab there, like I was away from home. So I felt like sort of sometimes I feel isolated because when you're in that environment, it's possible to have many emotions in one day, like a roller coaster of emotions. In one day, you'll be happy. The same day, you'll be happy. You'll be sad. You feel lonely. You feel stressed. You feel angry. So if you're not able to control those emotions, you feel very low. So there are sometimes when you feel low. But for me, I would always have someone to talk to. I'll share my problem with someone, and then when that person starts sharing their problem with me, I'll use that as an opportunity to motivate them. And the more I'm motivating that person, I'll also like feel happy, and my emotions will now. If I was feeling low, I'll end up just feeling lightheaded, and the day goes on just like that. So mainly the challenges, or what I would say is the biggest challenge that I faced was that of detachment. Like you feel we are away from society. You don't know
Mhm.
what's happening. Sometimes, yes, we had TV there, but like it was restricted to certain channels and certain times. And this issue of power, maybe you won't watch TV for 4 days. So like you don't know what's really happening outside. You feel like you're missing out on a lot.
I see.
So I would say that was like one of the biggest challenges. And then also there's a stereotype that people feel, especially here, like here in Zambia, this rehab thing, that's when it's new. So people feel like maybe you lost it, you've gone to a mental institution, or you're not okay mentally. So I was feeling like that pressure to say I'll be stigmatized when I come back into society. Like this person went to rehab, meaning he was mad, or meaning he wasn't okay, that kind of thing. But it's all about, it's a personal discovery, and there's a lot of character building being done there. Of course, I'm sure now even people are able to see, like, my speaking skills have increased. I never used to talk because I was always high, and I would want to like cocoon myself and just isolate myself. So now, like, that thing has come out where when I was growing up, I was very talkative when I was young. So now I've developed a skill over public speaking, so to say. I'm able to address a large crowd of people. Even there, when I was in the rehab, I was given an opportunity to conduct Sunday services. So I was preaching the word of God there, whereby other people would even ask me to say, which church are you coming from? Which church do you pastor? I want to come to your church when we leave rehab. But I was like, no, I'm not even a pastor. I just only started the whole preaching thing here. So again, I was also given another position to be like a house captain. So I was in charge of people. I was always looking at the needs of people, those who are going through difficult times, helping them, assigning people with tasks, and just many other things. So that really helped me to build a very strong character, which I'm portraying now.
That's great. That's great. So you the process, you say you've been there for 5 months. You're still working with them, but in 5 months you managed to start to feel good, coming from out of the feeling of wanting to drink and and think and smoke or whatever, and you did all those stuff, and in 5 months, and but we see sometime in life about people recovering that some of them they can take so many years and come back. Do you have anything that you are trying to a certain kind of work that when you have the edge of smoking or drinking, you know how to fight it?
Okay, yes. So for that one, the many coping skills that we've been taught or that I've learned personally. So I'll give like three, which are the main ones for me. The first one is setting boundaries. This means me, even if I'm around people who are drinking, people who are smoking, because I can't run away from that. There'll be times when I'm found in such situations, but what am I going to do? So I'll set boundaries to say, for me, I can't do this. And those people have to respect that. If they don't respect my situation or they don't respect my decision, the best thing for me to do is just leave, because I'll be saving myself, my sobriety. One, I'm protecting my sobriety, which I value very much. And two, I'll also just be knowing those people should know they shouldn't cross a certain line. So I would be comfortable around the situation where people are drinking, and I'll be there like drinking my soft drinks or a cocktail that doesn't have any alcohol in it, or just a fruit drink, and we're there discussing. But again, I won't spend a lot of time with them. Another one is practicing assertiveness. So assertiveness is basically you standing your ground. Like when you say no, no means no. There is no compromise to say, okay, no, I can just drink maybe 2 bottles of a lager. No, I'll just take a shot of the whiskey. I'll just have 2 pulls of marijuana. No, no means no. That's assertiveness. And you have to be, it requires you to be bold. It requires you to be confident at the end of the day. So those are some of the coping skills that I'm using. Of course, there are a lot of many other coping skills, but for me, this is what is working. Then there's another one where you restructure your thoughts, because any action that we do, it all starts in the mind. So your thoughts will affect your feelings and your behaviors, and they will also affect your actions. So when you're able to restructure your thoughts to say, okay, you have a craving, your automatic thought will be like, okay, let me drink. No, let me just drink too. Let me just smoke. No one is watching me. There are times when you're alone, where no one can see you. It's only yourself and God. So in that situation, you just restructure your mind, find something productive to do. And you have to avoid being idle. At all times, always find something to do. So for me, I'm never idle. If I'm idle, the only idle time maybe is when I'm watching TV or I'm sleeping. But all these other times, I'm directing my energy towards something positive. Like, for instance, I'm still writing my book, so I'm always writing. I'm always trying to type here and there. I'm always looking for ways. If I'm on online on YouTube, I'm seeing ways on how I can help someone, good speaking skills, and just things that can better myself in line with the course that I want to do, or what I want to do as being a very good therapist. Because again, I'm basing this on the experience that I've had, and I know experience is the best teacher at the end of the day. So
That's
if
true.
I've gone through something and I'm overcoming something, I can easily help someone who's also going through a certain challenge, as compared to someone, maybe those therapists, they'll go to school, yes, they'll learn certain theories, but it's not practical.
Yes.
So those people who, yes, they've been in recovery for some time. I know some people who have been maybe even 5 years in recovery, but at a certain point they just slip up and they relapse. They go back to that addictive behavior. So that means that person, it's either one, they haven't dealt with their triggers. So
Mm-hmm.
in therapy, when you're doing your therapy sessions, you have to completely pour out everything. You can't lie. You don't have to lie. And the therapists are able to know that this person is lying because they've done psychology. So you have to make sure you iron out all your triggers. If it's stress, if it's you haven't dealt with loss of someone, you've lost a job, if you are angry, if you are going through a divorce, anything, if it's broken family relations, you have to bring out everything so that at the end of the day, your recovery process will be effective. But if you're hiding things or you're trying to just make the process of therapy fast, at the end of the day, it's still going to come back to you because you haven't sorted it out. So it will come back to you, and how you don't know how to cope with it. So the only way that you know how to cope with it, because you've been doing that in the past, is that you take alcohol or you take a drug.
Okay. I see. I see. That's a very good point. So now I'm going to the reflection and growth. We already started a little bit about it. So the first question I have for that is how has recovery changed your outlook of life, relationship, and yourself? So I think you already gave me some answer about that, and I really appreciate that. So, but if you have something to add, we can do that. You can add by looking at the question. What have been the most surprising lesson you have learned about yourself during this process, the process of recovery, and the process of the when they put you on the center there, because and now you are becoming like a mentor and everything. You are giving advice to people. You are supervising some people. You are learning. You are writing a book and all. So do you have anything? That the most surprising lesson that you got there?
Okay. Yes. So for this one, the first one is like we've talked about the leadership skills. If you remember growing up, I mentioned to say I was always in leadership positions of being a prefect at school, in church, helping people to do certain things. So now in this recovery process, it has actually enhanced, like it has become more real. I'm able to speak in front of people and just like people's lives change when I just start speaking to them. So my leadership skills have been enhanced, even my speaking skills. I'm able to speak even without looking in the book because everything I'm using experience at the end of the day. So these have also led me, and I have more clarity now. I know what I want to do, and it has also led me to now be determined to live a life full of purpose. Previously, when I was in that addiction, I was just doing things for the sake of doing them. Like, okay, I know when I wake up today, I'll smoke, I'll drink, I'll sleep. The next day, I'll have a hangover. Again, I'll do the same thing. I'll smoke, I'll drink. So I was not going anywhere, despite, and I was trying to mix with school and the whatever drugs it was and the alcohol. So it's like you're serving two masters at one time. That's why you find that I was repeating courses. I wasn't in my right state of mind. But now I have so much clarity, and I feel like, and I know, like I'm only getting better by the day. I'm just aiming to do, like, the sky is not the limit. And I feel like also this is the second opportunity that life has given me, that God has given me, and I want to maximize this opportunity
through my experience, through my story, and through such platforms like this podcast, so that I can reach not only here in Zambia, but just the world at large. Because I know there's someone out there who's stuck in a box, like they're in a circle, they're in addiction, they can't come out, they're failing to voice themselves out. But I want to be like,
If you could go back in time, what would you say to your young self who was struggling right now, since you are becoming a therapist and stuff, and you know what you went through? If we were going like 14 years back, what can you tell to yourself?
okay. So I would tell myself, first of all, I would tell myself to open my eyes and to see that what I'm doing has no benefit. It won't take me anywhere. I'll only be going around in the same circles, and I'm distancing myself from God, destroying my family relations. I'm losing trust of people. I'm affecting my mental and physical health. And at the end of the day, I'm only dragging myself into a bottomless pit. And the effects are very vital, like dangerous. So I would strongly advise myself to just stop, cut off bad friends, find people who think positively, and just do the best for myself, for my family, and even for my future generations as well.
I see. That's that's good, and I hope the young you will understand and follow the rules and the advices that you're giving yourself. And so we're gonna go to the part six, where I'm calling it the advice and the encouragement. And the first question I have for you here is, what will you say to someone listening who might be struggling with addiction right now? Is this you're gonna say the same thing that you tell to yourself, or what? Somebody you don't know?
Okay. So for this one, the first thing I can say is addiction is real, and addiction is a mental illness. An illness in the sense that it alters your decisions, it alters your body, things get destroyed, your lungs, your kidneys. There's a lot that's happening that you can't see because you're in that addictive behavior. And addiction only destroys you, it also destroys your family. But at the end of the day, there is hope. You can always seek help from people, or you can seek help even from me. If you can reach out to me, if you feel, because I know mostly when you're in addiction, you feel isolated, you feel lonely, like the world is against you, and you feel your world like it's crumbling, and you feel like people judge you because of what you do. But
Yes.
God didn't create you to be an addict. God didn't create you to be a failure. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and God can change your story. There's power in
Hmm.
the work of God. There's a very okay, it's a Bible verse that I've been using to encourage me. It's First Corinthians chapter 1, verse 28. It says, God uses the foolish things of this world to shame the wise, and the things that were not to become something. So the moral of this verse is that even though yes, people look down upon you, you might have been an addict, the world put you, they labeled you as someone who's unproductive, you're just a junkie or something, but that's not the way God sees you. And God will use you for his glory to shame those people who were saying that you were a nobody in life, and he will just change your story. Like for me, I really feel it that God has changed my story, and it's only getting better at the end of the day. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. Don't feel like you're lost. Don't feel alone. Don't feel like. And another thing about addiction, when you enter into depression and you start having thoughts of, I've seen people who have suicidal thoughts. They just feel like ending their life, like they don't have purpose. They'll just say, I would rather overdose and die. So don't feel boxed in. Reach out to someone, speak to your pastor, speak to your counselor, speak to a therapist, speak to someone that you trust, your mother, your brother, whoever it is, speak to them. There's always someone to help you. Don't feel alone.
I see. Yeah, that's a very good point you made there, and I think even me is the fact of talking to somebody that's made me feel the way I feel today and everything. So I understand what you're saying, and thank you for that. So my next question will be what advice will you give to a family to families or friends who want to support a loved one dealing with addiction, like a family member, like because I know one of those one at one point we're gonna also talk to your family members and stuff to see. But what advice can you give to people out there, people who are listening to us and their families and friends?
Okay. So the advice I can give to those family, friends, to someone who's facing an addiction, uh, don't write them off. Just show them love. At least for me, I've been shown nothing but love from my family members are supportive, my aunties, my uncles, my mom, my siblings. They've been there for me. Because the moment you leave that person alone, they'll feel like the nobody in life, like I said earlier on. And the thoughts that they'll start having in their mind are negative thoughts of suicide, of overdosing, of just the worst thing to happen to them. So the advice I can give is that just be there for that person. Encourage that person to tell them there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's still hope. Is a God of there's God is a God of second chances, and He can change your story. So it's all about encouraging that person and showing them love at the end of the day and embracing them, because they're in a position where they feel trapped. Actually, they're trapped in that addiction. They're in a prison, so they need someone to help them. And the best people to help are those people that are around your family. So don't neglect that person. Do not write them off. Just encourage them, love them, and show them the best. Give them encouraging words and actions. Not only words, but even actions. It will really go a long way in helping that person to overcome that whatever addiction it is that they're going through.
Thank you for this advice. In the name of all the people listening, thank you so much for this advice. And now my next question, the last question for this session will be, why do you think it's important to share stories like yours, and how do you hope your story will inspire others?
Okay, so the importance of sharing these stories, like for me, it motivates me because I know I'm helping someone. I wish I could have had someone to also share a story the time I was in this addiction because I know it was hard.
Mhm.
So I want to be that person. I want to be an answered prayer to someone because I believe God speaks through people and He uses testimonies of people to change other people's lives. So for me, it's motivation and it's also a source of encouragement and a source of hope. I want to be a source of hope to someone out there who's lost, someone out there who's trapped, someone out there who's having suicidal thoughts and they feel like they can't handle the pressure that they're going through, they're stressed, they're angry, they're disappointed, whatever trauma it is that they're passing through. So I just want to be a beacon of hope that I can help others who are going through a similar addiction or even worse addiction because drugs are in classes. I was only taking marijuana, but the people who are taking heroin, the others taking cocaine, others are taking ecstasy, Xanax, codeine, name it. So it's about just helping someone to show them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and there's hope. You can change. That label of addiction is just a label, but you can change your story and you can just do a complete 360-degree turnaround and live a positive life, live a life full of purpose, a life that you set some goals and you set up objectives to attain those goals that you've set up. And at the end of the day, you feel fresh. Like so for me now in the sobriety, I used to think being sober is boring, but it's really not boring. There's a lot of other things that I'm doing where I'm channeling my energy. And all those are leading to personal growth, to character building, and like the sky is not the limit at the end of the day. So that's the encouragement that I can give to someone who's going through such an addiction or any type of drug or alcohol addiction that are going through.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So here we are now to the conclusion of this thing, and I got that's the part 7, and I got some question. I got 3 questions only for this part, and I just want to know, for example, personally, what does hope means to you now compared to what it meant before? Hope. You've been talking about hope, becoming a beacon of hope, giving hope to people and stuff. For you now, what means hope now compared to before?
Okay, so in this case, hope is that second chance. Hope is that light in the tunnel. Hope is that thing to say, okay, I can change. If someone can do it, like if I can do it, why can't you? So that's how I would define hope now. The time I was in addiction, hope was just like a vague word. I just see it like, okay, no, there's hope for change, but like I wasn't into that thing, and it was like a fairy tale, something like a make believe that I wouldn't even. I'll just say it like, oh no, there's hope for change, but because I was in that addictive behavior, I wouldn't even focus on that. And hope again, spiritually looking at it, it also comes with faith. We're told in Hebrews 11 that faith is the substance of believing in things that you do not see and having that confidence that it will come to a reality. So that hope will only come when you have faith, faith in a higher power, faith in God, faith in yourself that you can change. So really, that's how I would define hope.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, and my second question is, if you could sum up your recovery journey in one word or phrase, what would it be? I'm sorry, I'm asking you some questions, some tricky questions here, but I just want to have some stuff from your point of view. Okay.
Okay, in one phrase, I wouldn't put it in one word, but I'll put it in a phrase to say, I've used my setbacks as an opportunity for growth.
Okay. So I will put it in one word, success. Or not yet. You are not yet successful in your, but the success is not yet there, or what? You're not
No,
feeling.
success is there. It's gradual, so it's step by step. But the steps that I'm taking are leading to success. Like the wins for me. I'm seeing wins everywhere. Every day I'm sober, it's a win for me. Every time I'm encouraging someone, it's a win for me. So those wins, generally or gradually, they're going to lead to success at the end of the day.
Right. So how many days have you been sober now?
So as of today, actually, it's my anniversary because I started this program on the 30th of May this year. So I'm 6 months sober, which is 180 days.
Oh.
Yes, 180 days sober.
That's great. So what did you do for celebrating? Talking to me?
Yes, talking to you, and I talked to mom also. She was happy.
Okay.
My brother.
Yes.
Yes.
Congratulations, honestly. And how to call it? So you say you talked to mom. So you are not with mom right now. You can't. You're still in the program, or what's going on?
No. Mom is in a different town. I'm in Lusaka, so she's home in Luansha.
Okay. Yes. The number 3 question is here. Is there anything else you like to share that we haven't covered during the 1 hour and 20 minutes that we've been talking? Is there anything that you want to share and all? Because I know you mentioned to me when we started to talk about doing this thing, you say that how do you say? You say recovery is not a final line or something like that. What did you say? I like the term, and I
Not
kept
a
it somewhere.
destination.
Huh?
Recovery is not a destination; it's a journey.
Yes, I love this term. I love this term. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for me, please? I want to know what makes you why you use this term and this word, this phrase, because I noticed you use it a lot, and not just you. A lot of
Okay.
people use it.
Yes. So the way it is for recovery, or rather sobriety, you it's not a destination. Like you don't reach. It's not like you're going from one town to another and you say I've reached my destination. It's a continuous journey. It's a lifetime thing. Let's remember when we were in that, when someone is in that addictive behavior, taking alcohol or something, it's
Mhm.
like a pattern. It took a long time to build up that habit. So even sobriety takes a long time. You have to continue. It's continuous. So the way you motivate yourself is every day you're sober, it's an achievement for you. It's a win. Every time you face challenges, you face triggers, and you overcome those triggers, that's a motivation and a win for you. Every time you're encouraging someone who's going through um, an addiction, that's a motivation for you. So it's you're counting the more wins that you have, the more better your recovery journey is, and the more equipped you be with skills. Because it's about having skills. Triggers are always there. Like right now, entering into the festive season, everywhere you go, people are drinking, people are partying. So it's
Yes.
about you sharpening your skills and learning how to use them appropriately and effectively without hurting the feelings of others. Because sometimes you go around people who are drinking and maybe they're smoking, and you start telling them about the sober thing, and they'll feel like, but this person now feels like he knows it all. This person is bragging, or he feels like he's better than us. So you don't have to injure the people that you're around. You just have to put it in a plain and simple way that they can understand, to say, okay, um, this is not my line of thought anymore. I'm not in this type of lifestyle anymore.
Okay. Okay. Did you ever had anybody trying to push you to drink to say, man, come on, man, one cup, just a little sip can help. It's not gonna hurt. Do you have this kind of stuff?
Mhm. Yes. So last week I recently met a childhood friend. I didn't tell him about what I was doing about the sobriety. And where I met him, he was at a sort of like a bar type of place. So I went there, I met him. So he ordered some drinks and he got me a lager. Then I was like, no, I'm not taking a lager. Just get me a soft drink. And he was so surprised, like, why are you not drinking? We've grown up drinking together. I've known you from drinking. We've always been drinking. Why are you not drinking? Then I started explaining to him, because I didn't want to be too, like, to come out too strong. So I just
Mhm.
told him, no, I just made the decision to stop alcohol because it's not for me. He tried many ways to convince me, okay, no, just drink a shot. Okay, no, just take, we'll mix it with Coke. We'll mix the brandy with Coke so that it shouldn't be too strong. He tried so many ways, and he was around some other people who were drinking. There were even
Mhm.
some ladies, some girls there. They were like, you're a party pooper. You're not cool. You're killing the vibe. Like they were saying so many things. And I was just
Mhm.
like, okay, for me, I don't drink. So I felt uncomfortable. I called him on the side and I told him, I have something to do. I didn't even have anything to do. I just told him, no, there's an emergency that has come up. So I'm leaving. And that's how I left.
Okay. So it's a little bit like you run away, or what? Or they were going to. Were you feeling like if you were staying longer there, you may have fell for the temptation, or what? Or is that was the best move to move away from there? That was the thing.
Okay, not that I would have fallen for that temptation, but I would have injured them with my words. Like I said, I would have seemed too pompous, like I know too much and I'm underrating them. So, for the sake of sanity and for the sake of maintaining that level of integrity, the best thing for me to do was just leave, because I felt uncomfortable. It was a toxic environment for me. So,
Yes.
that was the best thing. Again, that's one of the coping skills, the strategies to
Mm,
use when you're
yeah.
setting boundaries. You should know which environment is toxic. If it's affecting your sobriety, you're better off living.
Thank you so much for that, my brother. I really appreciate your time and all your honesty, and honestly, I can just wait for the next interview we will have. So we're gonna just stop here now and come back on the next episode. That will be live maybe, and we can see how things will go. Okay. So thank you so much again for your time, and God bless you. And thank you for everybody who took the time to stay with us and listen to us all this time. Appreciate you, and please don't hesitate to subscribe to have updates on all our future episodes. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Voices of Hope podcast. We truly appreciate you spending your time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a review and let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with your contacts and family. This podcast is created by Fabrice Somborn, who also handled the audio and mix using some AI tools. You can find us on any platform where you listen to podcasts. For more information and to support our mission, please visit our website at www.lightofafrica.org. At Light of Africa, we believe in bringing the light of empowerment to the darkness of poverty. Our vision is an Africa with adequate access to healthcare, education, and opportunities for all individuals. Our mission is to support African residents with basic needs while promoting pathways to economic independence. We uphold values of accountability, equity, diversity, inclusion, innovation, and learning. Our initiatives range from education and healthcare to sponsoring students and empowering communities. Together, we can create a brighter future. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Until next time, stay hopeful.